Hello everybody, this is the Vikstrand and I'm sorry for that, my voice is a little husky today. We're gonna talk about trilogies. I think that the 50 Shades trilogy is the worst movie trilogy that has ever been made. I can't think of a trilogy that is so bad as this one. When I heard first that this movie existed, I had no idea what's the point with it. I heard that it was, this Twilight fan fiction and that it was the worst thing that had ever been put on pen and paper, and it was even worse than the Twilight movies. And I thought, that's impossible. That's totally impossible. You can't make anything that is as terrible as those were. Found out that, well, yes, you can. You can. Weird thing that these movies actually made me appreciate the Twilight movies a little bit more, so that's a positive, I guess. But is there anything positive we're gonna say about this movie? Not a lot. Let's take a look today at the movie that not only is called 50 Shades Free, but also indicates that now we are free. We don't have to see any of these hokey bullshit, awful nonsense again. So let's go. This is 50 Shades Free. So finally, Anastasia Steele has, met the guy of her dreams, the first man she has ever had sex with, by the way. So Anastasia Steele, she's now, a publisher, which is empowering and all that stuff, especially considering that it was her husband who bought the company that she currently runs. So good work there, buddy. But she's particularly happy in this movie because she's finally going to tie the knot with Christian Grey. And they have these horrendously hokey movie wedding that actually made the Twilight movie wedding actually look kind of passable. So they go on a honeymoon and stuff like that, and everything seems to be very mundane and very boring. And can we stop this now, please? No? What? We're gonna have what? Courtroom cases? Okay. And shootouts? Okay. Fine. And we have kidnappings. Oh, God. And car chases. Oh. So, we have everyone's favorite psycho, Jack Hyde. Jack Hyde, that's his name. Was Villain the Awful the Third taken? Was Ray P. McGee taken? Was Douchebag McAsshole, occupied on some other movie? Jack Hyde? I think that Shakespeare is crying in his grave somewhere. But anyway, so he has come to terrorize them and, stuff like that. But who cares? I hated 50 Shades Darker so much that when I saw this movie, I didn't have the energy to hate it because I was just so done with this. And it is difficult to gain any form of interest in this movie whatsoever. Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson, they just look so bored in this one. They just look like they want to be anywhere else. And the chemistry between them, who has been, on a downslope ever since the first movie, has now hit rock bottom. And they're lighthouses in the night, or whatever the saying is. They just want to get rid of this thing whatsoever. The vanilla sex scenes that have so little steam that you're getting frostbite just by looking at them, and the very tame BDSM sequences that is just, pointless at this point. You just feel like they just have to do it so that they can get an R rating because, and in fact, I'm actually surprised that it got an R rating for this one. This movie has no steaminess whatsoever. It has no drama. It is no romance in this one, because the romance is so fucked up from the beginning that you can't take it seriously, and Christian Grey just raises all the red flags. And our two main characters seems to only get more and more unlikable the longer this movie has, gone on. And they're almost appearing like they are the villains of their own movie with their own henchmen and stuff like that. And also, what the hell is Christian Grey actually doing? What is his actual business? They drop a little hint on that. Some woman says, "I love what you're doing in Africa." What is Christian Grey doing in Africa? Is it blood diamonds? Is it child soldiers? Is it deforestation projects? Is it big game huntings or stuff like that? One can only guess. I have no idea why anybody would want to watch this movie a second time. I have no idea why anybody would want to watch this movie a first time. This is not so bad it is good. This is so bad it's bad. It is mercifully short, however, and it isn't as terrible as 50 Shades Darker, which is one of the decade's worst movies. And when the movie is finally over, you at least get some kind of relief, saying, well, at least we have a closure now. I always appreciate when movies give characters, okay, this is it. Now we're leaving them. We don't have to revisit them again. I always get a little bit, okay, that was at least it. Because these very contrived dramas with, the sex and the obsessions and their very, very wacky relationship, it doesn't work. And it's so boring, it is so lame, and I just never want to be reminded of this movie again for as long as I live, and I think that probably at one point I'm gonna have to do the first and second one. Oh, Jesus Christ. The first movie actually was a pretty well made movie. The second one was a fucking travesty and should be killed by fire. This one is sort of in the middle, which is the reason why this movie gets 7 points. It at least has some pretty good cinematography, and the shorter runtimes do make the pain go away a little bit faster. But I can't even be angry at this movie at this point. It's just so boring. And oh, before we go, by the way, we're gonna have a little bit of a spoiler thing for this movie, and so if you don't want to know anything, this is a spoiler alert kind of a thing. My personal theory about this movie is that in this movie, Anastasia Steele is killed by Christian Grey, because I think Christian Grey has done this not once, not twice, 5 times maybe, 7 times maybe. He's a serial killer. He's wealthy, so he can hide all the evidences. And he has done this time, before, where, he has, lured women to believe that they are, giving him something that he hasn't seen before. And, there's a guy in the first movie that tells her that no one has ever been flying in his helicopter before. He has probably said that 5 times before, because Christian Grey has told him. We don't know, really. And he forces, his family to go along with this, and, they're welcoming, different women all the time. And when Christian Grey has, got them where he wants to, or when they say something that he doesn't like, he does kill them, and then he, goes back to search for another victim. Because when Anastasia Steele, what a great name, by the way, tells him that, I'm pregnant and stuff like that, and he just goes, oh, and, it's a pretty good sign that they married too soon. They haven't talked anything through. It's in fact, the entirety of this trilogy is like 3 or 4 months or something like that, so it's a very short time span. So he could have done this, plenty of times before. Because after that, we have this sequence where Johnson is just walking around in Seattle and it's rainy and stuff like that. She's dead now. So all the things that happen after that is basically, her looking down at her perfect life from, heaven, apart from, of course, from when she, get those millions out of the bank, and when she, the kidnapping thing and all that stuff. And in the end, you know, she lives at this beautiful house with the baby and all that stuff, and that's the finish. And but that is basically, you know, just her experience the afterlife. This is basically the same idea as some people have for the movie Grease, which is the only time in the history you're gonna have Grease and 50 Shades of Grey talk about in the same sentence, I think. It's not a very good theory, but I kind of like it. And it explains a little bit more. And it also explains why this movie is so full of plot holes and all that stupid stuff. So, I'll see you next time from, well, so-and-so reviewing, well, such and such. Thank you for watching. Thank you very much.